Back to another episode of Leading Crypto. Happy TA Tuesday. Coming to you live. I think I have my YouTube up somewhere. Maybe not. Okay. Coming to you live here on this beautiful day back in Florida. I can only imagine it's a brisk, 10 to 30 degrees back in Kansas City for good old Magic, but I'm sure he's happy to be home. Max out in Dubai, living it up as usual. And we got always a great update for you. We definitely drop as much sauce and alpha as possible in here for you in almost 30 to 45 minutes, which between three analysts is I think a really good value. So if you guys do find value in our content that we provide for you every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Tune in every single day for the constant updates. So Magic, how is it to be home, my friend?
It's great, man.
Good. Max, how's everything going for you, sir?
Everything is well. It's been a slow day, but it'll come.
Slow, man. Slow. Just grinding around. A weekly open was about it.
Yeah, and slow.
Yeah. Well, we can just jump right into it. Magic, would you like to start it off with Bitcoin or SPY?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
All right, should be good to go. Let's make sure screen is up. Awesome. Okay, guys, so nothing's really changed since yesterday. You guys were given levels. We talked about coming down into this box. Obviously, it's a couple different things. That's why it is a box. And then we're looking for the back test of the weekly open. Weekly open did give us a rejection. So that would be the most important level on the chart right now, 17,097.50 in terms of upside. You can see this is where you are finding rejection. So reason you want to be back above that is you just zoom out to the daily. Very, very simply put, from an overall consolidation and structure standpoint, you can see that this is going to get the highs pretty well in terms of a closing basis. So you do want to see this get flipped to support. And this is, easily at the lows here, same thing. You've got your lows and closing bases right here, along with weekly pivots and the previous week high right here, which does kind of get us into some single prints, but also puts us back well within the November range. And that is going to be something that we definitely want to monitor, because if you start finding your way back into this November range, you will see that the POC is one, naked, and two, that it's fairly large. So you've got a pretty thin volume profile on the way down here. And if you're looking for range expansions to the upside, what do you want to see? You want to see thin volume profile with high volume nodes near the peak. This would be the opposite. So November did not really close all that bullish, to be upfront with you guys. That doesn't mean that things are doomed by any means, but we would be looking down to this secondary box here. You want to stair step it. You start losing this region of support, and you're looking down to about 16,544. Then we're looking down to 16,200 and into this 16,100, and maybe even the previous week low. That's always on the radar anytime you get that close. So that's how I would be looking at it. Very, very simple. That is not, I haven't even looked at SPX or anything like that. It's really not something we're going to spend a lot of time on this morning, as it's just not really all that relevant today. Just nothing has changed. But you can see this also gets your range lows really, really nicely. So expecting to see the previous week low, if we lose this box and this POC here, would probably be more than likely. So this gold pocket implies a wick or two through, but it doesn't mean you can't trade it on the initial reaction. So just keep that in mind. In terms of SPY, that is a messy chart. You can see that we're still inside of the area that we've been looking for off the X and B pivot of our reversal pattern. This is technically still a very valid shark. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. Now we're back to the ultra wide. And what you'll notice is 39.23 here at the 24 AM. And I'm going to get rid of this right here. Is going to be pretty important for us. Main reason being is it's support. And if you come back down and, it's probably going to bounce and we give it up, what are we looking for? A move down to the next logical support, which is the 0.5, I think that's the Q3 open. Yeah, Q3 open and 2021 open, and this B leg pivot here on the structure for the way up. So that would imply, Bitcoin taking a little bit of a leg down as well. And if we go over to DXY real quick here, we talked about, DXY was the tricky one out of the charts, to be honest with you, where it did come down and make a new low despite having great, technical balances here. You don't always know what the market's going to do, and we try to emphasize that. So Even the prettiest and nicest patterns sometimes don't play out, so you have to be ready to pivot. And it did. It kind of just continued to make new lows. However, now you're approaching this low right here at 105.34 we talked about. As you can see, butting up right against it, trying to get back above this level. And if you do so, well, one would expect to see again a run probably back up to some of these highs up here around this like 106 area. We could probably move this down now to like here, and we would say another one above it up here, right? So those would be your next targets, and I would say this would be the more important target for any kind of a trend continuation. If the DXY was going to get any further bounce, it would be like out of this region. It has to get back above this region. If you can't get back above this region, all these bounces are probably just lower highs, and I would expect to see 102 over time. We've talked about this level quite a bit, and we'll go out to the 12-month, and we'll get rid of a lot of this stuff. All this stuff we'll get rid of, actually. And the regression. And there we go. And so what you'll notice, this is your 12M here. You've got a few of them here, and this just really kind of gets things very, very well. So if you start losing this and breaking back in, you go out to a monthly now, you can see how this was your monthly breakout or your monthly ranges. So this would be an area that has to hold as support. You lose this area, one would expect to see 96, and we go from there. So then that would look like this bat right here is really playing out. And if you were to rotate that full range, the range was, I believe I even saved it in here somewhere. Is it here? Yep, there you go. You'd be looking at the B leg, basically rotating this range all the way back to the low. So this just front ran its overall target by a little bit in that instance. So you would want to see this get a bounce if you're looking for further upside of the DXY. Otherwise, it's full on reversal below this level. In my opinion, you're looking like this was a really major top, and it's going to come back and probably come back to these lows over time. Not good for the US dollar in that instance. But yeah, that's all I've got. Hopefully that makes sense. The levels are very, very clear on both Bitcoin and the SPX. Is there any upside hopium for Bitcoin? Of course there is. There always is. If we regain that weekly open, as we just spoke about right here, previous week high is there, but in reality, 17,567 and $18,000 are your next two targets after that. So that'd be as simple as that, guys. Trade the range until it's not a range. You've got a very clear one here, and the weekly open is going to be that basing area that if we are going to get further upside or rejection, I think it all starts with that level. So that's what I got. Richard Wright, only one in the chat.
So I'm going to kind of go over and emphasize a little bit more on pretty much what you just said. Now, the only trades I can really see on the long side of things are, well, currently right now, it's the previous day low, swing failure pattern, simple as that. The next one is an old SFP that we had, and it comes up with the single prints. So it's really the area to hold at 16,750, which was, again, I think Magic said the previous week low is, I think it's there, isn't it? So, it all comes in around that area. It's really the level to hold. Now, literally going over exactly what Magic has said, the reason the weekly open is so important right now is, well, if we can claim it, I'm going to hide the marks just for now. If you're looking at the CVD, I swear I say the same things all the time. The CVD and the open interest, the open interest is increasing pretty sharply at this point in this mini little, I don't know, it feels like we're doing the same thing as we were doing yesterday when we were up here. A slow drag down. So what do you need to see in order for a, these slow movements that are just in one direction? What do you need to see for them to, stop and reverse? Well, you need to see volatility expand, and you need to see, a huge influx in volume, really. And it kind of comes with the fact of, if you get the volatility, kind of getting some volume there. At the bottom of yesterday's move, 10 million. Granted, it's not too much, but it's higher than, the majority of the day, considering if you look at the volume, what we've had each of these days, volume's been abysmal. So 10 million is pretty high for a 5-minute candle. And, if you group them all together, it's a considerable amount of volume there. That's the kind of volatility and the volume that you need to be looking for a reversal. And to be honest with you, looking at the current price action, the way it is just slowly making its way down, it's it's painful to watch. It's really painful to sit here all day and try and trade it, but it's what we do. But you have to kind of use this time effectively, go and build statistics, go and back in the price chart and look for your setups that and try and get used to looking for them and trying to gauge when they're coming in the market. Pattern recognition is a real thing, and it certainly helps to have that type of thing with trading. Oftentimes, if you do a lot of that, you'll find that when you look in the chart, you'll have like a gut feeling like, I need to take a trade here. You won't really see it, but then if you look a bit closer, you're like, oh my God, like my subconscious saw that before me. And it is a real thing. And oftentimes the trades play out the best. But yeah, that's kind of what I do when we're kind of waiting for volatility to expand. But like I said, if you look at the delta and the open interest, it has been increasing with this little decline here. So we can kind of gauge in this area, there's a lot of shorts building up. Well, when we're kind of getting a lot of shorts building up, is the market maker really going to pay them? It could be nice. But if we were to get above, it says the previous day open here, the week open mark is saying is just behind here. It's just covered by the previous day open because it's a bit larger, but it is behind there. You get above there, you've got one of two things that I would say that on, because we mentioned it yesterday that you really want to wait for the weekly open to be claimed for the golden pocket trade that was available yesterday. So if you don't claim the weekly open, there's no point taking said trade. Same thing today, but today you've got a Dalton in play. So, pretty much similar. You're waiting for that confirmation of the previous day open, the weekly open to be claimed, to then get into the trade of the Dalton to take that to the previous day point of control and take it. Well, the previous day high, the statistics on that aren't as high as they are the previous day point of control, but it's not too far to expect it to reach there if we were to get to the previous day point of control. But yeah, you've got the fuel right now for something like that to occur. It just has to get above the previous day open. And you have got bullish divergence building up, but you can't, in my opinion, the way that you trade this type of divergence, you have to wait for the traders to be trapped, and they're trapped above the previous day open. There's really not much else going on from today's price action other than that, to be honest with you. So, quick summary, either wait for the previous day open to be claimed, the weekly open to be claimed, possible long to the previous day point of control. If not, well, delta is leading until it's not. And them lows looking likely to get taken. So you got the previous day low and, the lows that Magic was mentioning before. Delta is leading until it's not. So don't trade against it and jump the gun. All good, CVO. You're good to go.
Beautiful, sir. All right, so taking a look at Ethereum, hate to kind of give it on a higher time frame. We're still in the same position, similar to how Magic was kind of alluding to with yesterday's update, as far as a more longer outlook in the moment here. So the levels do remain the same. I'm going to take a couple different looks here at a couple things here. So as you know, then looking at this pretty high time frame range that we've been looking at for the last 7 months, I've been getting things pretty well. It's not the only area that I look for, but this is a pretty decent, just larger kind of longer term play to be kind of paying attention for. So this Q2 point of control, right? So highest volume traded area back in Q2 of this year has been a really big area to kind of be, looking to as support or resistance. We spent some time below that for a couple of weeks. And at that point, right, you were looking down towards these levels. Obviously you flipped that. And, at the time we're, anticipating that you can still continue on higher. Still remains a little bit of the line in the sand for me, right? So 1221, start losing that once again. And I would imagine we're probably going to come down and take this untapped daily once and for all. Otherwise, in the short term here, looking at this, we do have, a couple areas to the upside that you'd really want to start stair stepping for, more upside, right? So one of which is going to be the untapped monthly that we generated this month. It does come in this red line right here is the quarterly VWAP as well. So pretty major area in the short term here, 1347. Taking it as, flipping that, claiming that into support would be key. Otherwise, I would imagine at least a run up and tag of this level in the coming days, weeks here, at least maybe sometime this month in December. If you start to flip that, still the quarterly key level at the moment, which is your current golden pocket here from high to low. is another confirmation you want to look for some more continuation, and then we can probably challenge up into this untapped weekly. If we do look at the current range we're building out, however, you can see how once again, the untapped monthly comes in pretty much at the value area high. Once again, you got the quarterly VWAP, things of that nature. And right now you can see that we're right at where the point of control, you're right under it. You're basically consolidating right beneath. At the moment, this is going to, present major resistance, just as you've seen across the board here. But flip of that, that would probably take us right into this region. So, getting a rejection here, would more than likely result in a range rotation back down. Obviously, you come back down back towards the bottom here at about 11.18. And, leading back to what I was saying earlier, if you lose 12.21, we're looking down anyways back towards this untapped daily, which would be a slight deviation of the current range we're building, which is pretty much what you'd want to see anyways, right? So say, just for example, we get a little move like this, start making our way back down. Now you come back down here, you're breaking out, out of this range here, a slight deviation. You take the untapped daily, you get the reclaim now, and that's what we'd want to see for a nice little move back up at that point. So that'd be a really nice trade presenting itself if we get it. Max. Yeah, just an idea at the moment, but just kind of basing on what the levels are looking like and the current ranges that are at play with some of the major key points here. So, and all right. So just a little different angle there to kind of take us into possibility of coming back down to this region. And then once again, I mean, just kind of same as Max was saying, a very simple outlook here would be for upside. You really want to claim 1347. I'd call it 1350 in the short term, and then really monitor that region to see if you lose it. Technically, the current value area high comes in like 1380. So pushing up to that, this is like the previous week high as well, I believe. So a couple things do line up with like 1380 area as well. Otherwise, the quarterly key level still remains that major inflection point in the short term. And realistically, even coming up to here, you really wouldn't be doing anything but putting in high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and so on. So something like what you just spoke of, where you come back down, you take this untapped daily here and run it back. Even if you just rotate the range in full once again, that could present a possible 30% move, and then still would you'd still want to be paying attention to these key areas to see if you can flip them for the beginning of that trend change, possible reversal if we get it. So that would be what I'd be looking for out of ETH. And we're gonna make this one a real quick one today, aren't we, boys? Let's take a look at Ethereum on the short term, low time frame, I mean. So last night, similar, right? You had this push up out of Bitcoin into weekly open. And what do we have for ETH at the same time? So Ethereum got our current range we're working off of here, right? Had a drawdown here, tagged our weekly key level. So if you were watching yesterday, we were anticipating a move down to, at the time, this was untapped. I'd like to say yesterday's video probably came in around this time frame right here. And then throughout the day, if you remain patient, that was the major target, at least for me. This was the previous day val. This was, your Dalton target at the time. This was, and like I said, an untapped weekly key level. So definitely made our way there. Scooted back up, got the new day right here, briefly got back into the range, did close a couple of candles in this area. However, at the same time, we had Bitcoin rejecting from the weekly open and coming back down, losing VWAP, things of that nature. So you do have to kind of monitor Bitcoin as you're paying attention for Ethereum as well. And at the same exact moment, we were coming into yesterday's key level. So, rejections and the resistance on both Bitcoin and Ethereum, Bitcoin losing, a little bit more higher ground than Ethereum was. So that definitely was, indicating that we're probably going to see another little pullback here. Came down, took the low. And for now, just really just grinding it out around the weekly key level. So for a short-term play here, I'm really paying attention to Bitcoin at the moment. Bitcoin does have the untapped key level for it back down like 16.8. So we'll see how things, manage around there. Otherwise, very similar to Bitcoin, right? You'd really want to come up and take out the daily open for sure. But, realistically, the weekly open might actually be a better play in the short term. Coming back in, claiming your previous day value area low, 1264. You could take some risk here. You can kind of put a little bit more on, I guess, if you come up and take the daily key level. But weekly open is definitely a major area in the short term here. And then you got the previous day point of control, previous day high, things of that nature. And this is just a really, really short entry. It's almost it's not necessarily as rewarding as yesterday. So it might even just be a day where, you just kind of let things play out a little bit, see how things go, or pay attention more so to Bitcoin in the short term. So, all right, let's see some comments here. Magic says he never goes soft. Ask Josh. You got to stay hard. Always got to stay hard. The old Twitter inside joke there. All right. Boys, that might be all I have today as well, too. Like I said in the beginning of this video, we try to crush as much, information into a small segment for you as we can. And today is, not trying to beat a dead horse. Honestly, a lot of yesterday's information does carry over to today. And then today was just the brief updates there. And from here, I think we just kind of segue into tomorrow. So do you gentlemen have anything else to add?
No, it gets like this when the volume's so low. What's it been now? What's this session been open for, over 15 hours? We've had $142 million in that whole time period. It's abysmal. It's nearly as bad as a Saturday. It's literally been as bad as a Saturday today, trading wise.
Right.
Saturdays tend to get in the hundreds. So you go from 120, 119 we had over the weekend just to 200 tops for a Saturday. This is the first time I've really seen a Tuesday have this bad of volume in a long time. Wednesdays normally brings it, so hopefully tomorrow we get something.
Yep. Wednesday and Thursday are lunar eclipses or something again. So Marin said expect volatility and drama. So I'm waiting for it. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think that's all we're going to bring to you guys today. So if you are all interested in joining the Leading Crypto Discord server, the information for that is in our information box as always. There we do have, access to all of our analysis, our 14-step, step-by-step video in the Academy series. We have members only market updates Wednesdays and Sunday nights. And then you get the, obviously the action as it's happening instead of waiting until the morning. So you can always jump in there too and just, make some requests for anything you'd like to see. Just kind of come in there and chat around with us, things like that as well. So tune in later today is also, I'll be on Sin City Crypto, joining them for the first time. So be sure to give them a follow. And I'll post their video in the Discord as well when we start to go live. It'll be today at 2 p.m. Eastern. So do be sure to give that a watch. Sin City Crypto. They put on a really nice show. Really great energy between the two gentlemen, and their production quality is actually really top notch. I feel that they're very underrated in my opinion. So it'll be a fun show to kind of go on there. Magic was on there just a bit ago. Magic and Gareth are going to be on there as well on the 14th on Fed Day. So it'll be a channel that we probably, start really rooting around with. So be sure to give them a follow. All right. Aside from that, everybody have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. And until next time, CVO Magic and Bird.